It's on.
Okay, I think we'll take a look at the outdoor bulbs C-9. Just for your reference, the first was C6 they brought out after candles, and then approximately 1927 they came out with the bigger ones, not the C7 yet, for outdoor use.
Pretty colors. Are those the ceramic ones?
No, actually, these lovely guys are the earliest, well, second generation earliest, late 20s to early 30s. These have a powdered paint inside, and they're clear outside. As a kid, if you broke one of these, it makes a little puff of that color.
Right, the frosted inside.
Right, and they went to the trouble of putting a flame-shaped fluting on it. These American-made bulbs, another thing, you never get them with the base breaking off. All these years, no. The other stuff, the Japanese, the later ones, you know, you've gone out to your bush and tried to change a bulb and the damn thing breaks off. These are very early. One of these might even be one of the first in the late 20s. They have a cloth cord. And these older sets had a full brass socket. The later ones are all plastic with a little clip on each side.
Yeah, I've seen those.
And that loses contact. When you go to bend the clip up, as I did all through my life, it breaks off. These also run the 4 full thick wires in there. And these are weatherproof, so let's put some, as they used to call it, 110 onto these things. I know it's 115, but electricity was always referred to as 110. Here we have an idea. And they're all working with one dot. Camera doesn't really pick up colors too well usually, but you can see that churchy look. And on close inspection, you can see little white dots, like it's almost a star pattern.
Yeah, what's that from?
That's from the inside coat of paint. These things are 60, 70, maybe even some 80 years old. And, you know, you find stuff like this, you jump. Here on Long Island, where all culture is completely dead and buried, they give this stuff up like an exorcism because they can't wait to go out and buy the LED garbage, which is completely not acceptable. Here's a really old beast, too, in here, or one or two of these. I think this is 2. These came in little 7-light sets, 25 and 15. There's some 110 on these things. One set is not plugged in. This is the Japanese version of inside painting. I don't know whether GE turned it over to them at one point, but the glass is smooth, but it has that same murky, interesting inside coating. There's a Westinghouse version, which is identical to GE. I can't even imagine that they even used a different factory. I'm not sure about that. And we have a bag of often found replacements, which are of the later type. These, again, are the Japanese ones that were very prevalent in the 60s.
They look cheaply made.
You can't tell, but the bases sometimes are offset. They hold up pretty good, but, you know, there's no name on them. I don't know. For me, seeing a brand name on something really does it for me. There's another example. And, you know, no brand. And people just went to the store and, oh, they look pretty, and they buy them, and they work. This is the later GE. This is ceramic. It's got the GE meatball. They did this in about 59. 59 was the last run for these rigid ones. These went from all the way from 1927 to 59 with little differences. The last year in 59 they tried to paint the outside of the bulb and it looked terrible, so they dropped it.
And it comes off eventually, right? Doesn't it?
It comes off because it's just paint and it was very uneven. So they decided to drop the ridges and then they adopted the ceramic paint.
I remember having a set of lights like that at home. We tried to repaint the bulbs. It didn't work out too well.
Nothing works. I don't know how they do it, but that's the GE, smooth job. So they went away from the fluting because they figured from a distance from a car you might not see it. But it was really charming. And I would recommend basically you can use a dimmer on these. If you run these old bulbs on a dimmer, they last 10 times longer, almost forever. Bring them down a little bit. And then GE, of course, came out with the transparent blinker. Same deal. But any GE bulb with the logo on it, you got good stuff. In 1970, they dropped putting their name on it and did a very sloppy...
That's the meatball?
Yeah, that's the meatball. It also has a model number on there, right? They also made a transparent one called the Cool Bright, which doesn't blink. That's what this is. This is a Cool Bright. This actually is not a blinker. They decided to try that transparent coating on them even when they didn't blink, to try something else, and they look nice. Well, that one I think is DED, which happens sometimes. Yeah, I don't see the filament in there. Well, this is one of a million bags of bulbs. There's a few C-9 in here, too. Yeah, people here on the island at tag sales, they'll give you a carton this big full of old stuff, and, unless some of the people are tag sale people are savvy, they could care less. They don't want grandma's lights. This is in remarkable condition, I guess, considering it would have been used outside. There really is no such thing as weatherproofing. That's more of a statement than truth, but the fact that water is actually a little bit more of a conductor, an insulator. They used them for years because the indoor sets are made exactly the same way, even if they say indoor use only. It's the exact same hardware. Here's another old bad boy. See if we could grab a brand. Yeah, here was the first series of ceramic smooth. Was a D14. GE with the model number of the bulb on there. That would be unheard of today. This is actually Noma. That was formed in the 20s of 3 light companies that all merged. I think Prop was the original. This has had a few repairs here and there. And this guy works too. See if we can put some 110 in this thing's gooch. There you go. Well, you got to be out of your mind to like all that stuff, but like I say, these run in parallel so that when one is out, the rest stay on. This is just a nice little 7 light set. I remember seeing little old ladies with no purse in Queens when I was a kid, and they would just take one little set of the C-9, a 7 light set, and try and thumbtack it in the old wooden window and all that. And I'll tell you, I wish I could see that again. That's all the money and effort they had to do, and they get one little cheesy set. And that meant more to me than the people who overdo it with tons of minis. Minis, to me, are also unacceptable. There's nothing like a house done with these. And the LED is complete garbage, the LED C9s. They're dim and creepy, look like Halloween. Well, that's that.